And we are back here at the 2025 Tamalpa Headlands 50K, brought to you by Tamalpa Runners and Arc'teryx. Tropical John, Schuyler Hall in the studio, getting you up to speed on all the fun things happening here at this USATF National Championship race. We've been dealing with some things today out on course. One of which was the stream. Thanks for hanging out with us. Another of which we had RD Victor up here talking about the car that was sitting in the middle of Matt Davis. So we have some intel as to what that reroute of the course now looks like. If you were to be looking at the course information on the Headlands 50K website, you would see that the course basically looks like a figure eight. Yeah. So they hit that cardiac twice, coming once from essentially coming from the east, headed west, and then the other one coming from the west, headed east. The reroute is going to take the runners to cardiac, down the Dipsy Trail, tap the bottom, and then come right back on up the Dipsy Trail. So now it's going to look like one big funky deflated balloon instead of a figure eight, but that is what the runners now have in front of them. So as you saw the runners during the last shots leaving cardiac, they're basically just going to go down Dipsy from there, turn it around, and come right back up. So we'll have footage coming to you from two spots, cardiac, where we just saw, as well as further down that Dipsy Trail, closer to the turnaround. That's where we're at in terms of the reroute.
Near as we can tell, the reroute, those familiar with the local trails, from cardiac, they went through, supposed to go through Pantole and pick up Coastal, and then take left on Matt Davis and go down to Stinson, and then come up the Dipsy. Instead, they're just going down the Dipsy and back up, which is about a mile shorter. And so they're going to add a mile at the end. I think it's going to be just another out and back from the finish line. So it's like your worst nightmare. You see the finish line, you're not done. But we have got to be light on your feet sometimes. Apparently last night around 8 o'clock, a car, we're not quite sure what happened, but it appears those familiar with the trail will know that Coastal Trail parallels Ridgecrest Road just below it, just to the west. And looks like a car may have left the road up above and tumbled down to sort of land cattywampus on the trail itself, and it wasn't apparently anything that could be readily traversed, and so the race management had to make a midstream change, which is always entertaining.
Yes, we just got a video, or sorry, a photo of the car itself, which we, I think for privacy's sake, not going to show up. But let's just put it this way, not a good way for the runners to safely make it around the car and stay on trail. So while the local authorities investigate that incident, of which we hope that nobody was seriously hurt, the runners just get a nice tramps along the Dipsy Trail down
good practice for November's Quad Dipsy,
which registration opened earlier this month. So
there you go.
If you like what you see out here on course, come and join us by going over the Dipsy Trail 4 times. Just 9,000 feet over 28 miles. No big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal. No big deal for these runners that are out there on course. And so let's get you up to speed on what is going down. As we mentioned, runners are still going to be going down to Stinson Beach, turning around and coming back. So those aid stations, more or less, still playing out exactly as we expect them to in terms of timing. Officially, Liam Mayrow is up by just a tad over a minute over Cole Campbell, first and second. Spencer Ferguson Dryden still sitting in third, another 30 seconds back from Cole. And then we have a tight pack between David Elk, Corey Baxter, and Garrett Gardner playing out for fourth, 5th, and 6th. The open question right now is around Eddie Owens, our early leader, running alongside Liam Mayrow for quite some time. Unclear at this point if Eddie officially just hasn't made it to Stinson or it was a timing issue ping. So we're going to be keeping eyes out on our 2 cameras, one in the middle of the Dipsy Trail and one back at the top of Cardiac, to see if we can get eyes on Eddie and figure out if it's just a timing glitch or if something has unofficially gone awry during his day.
It may be something as simple as Eddie's chip didn't trigger the timing mat. That does happen occasionally. And so because he was leading at Cardiac, and when they got down to Stinson, he was nowhere to be found. So either he stopped and is sitting at Cardiac somewhere or sitting on the trail somewhere, or possibly his chip just didn't trigger the timing mat, and the transponder didn't work, and so he's still 2 minutes ahead of everybody else. We'll find out when the runners get back up the hill to Stinson Beach, or from Stinson Beach to Cardiac.
Indeed, yeah, we will. We'll keep an eye out. Unfortunately, Eddie has been going through a bit of an injury cycle for, I guess, really the last couple of years at this point. Definitely still putting in some good work on the bike. Had a couple successful runs already this year, but trying to come up to that ultra distance again has proved elusive a few times with what I believe was an Achilles injury. So hoping for the best and that it's just a timing issue for Eddie out there. But meanwhile, in terms of the timing as we have it, Liam Mayrow is currently leading out this USATF National Championship here at the Tamalpa Headlands 50K with just about a minute lead over last year's defending champion, Cole Campbell. Meanwhile, in the women's race, we do still have Taylor Tuttle out front. She is the first female and only female at this point to make it to Stinson Beach in just over 3 hours. She's sitting in 13th overall in terms of her placing in the field. So having just a stellar day out here, and has at least a 5-minute gap back to second place and counting at this point in the women's race. Second place being Caroline Alcorta, who is just ahead of Julia Vasquez and Jennifer Schmidt. So top 4 separated by approximately 10 minutes when they got to the top of Cardiac. Second, third, and fourth separated by 5 minutes. And as we've seen on the men's side, any number of things can happen. Okay, we have a fresh ping. Eddie is still here.
Okay.
Eddie is behind Cole Campbell for Cardiac 2. So as it's showing on our timing, Cole Campbell, having made the move into the lead, 3 hours and 9 minutes elapsed officially up Cardiac the second time. Eddie Owens just 15 seconds back of Cole Campbell in second place. So Cardiac is the second time through is about a 5K from Cardiac to the finish. So at that point, these gentlemen will have hit Cardiac, made the right turn, and start hitting that bombing descent that is very nice and fast at the top, and then gets nasty with the switchbacks towards the bottom. But 15 seconds apart with 3 miles to go.
That's wild.
And
I think Victor Ballesteros, the race director, has suggested, I'm not quite sure exactly what the details are, but they're going to make up the mile or so distance that they lost with the car crash by doing some sort of out and back, I think, at the finish line. So we'll see exactly what happens there. So it looks like instead of about 5K to go, maybe more like 7K from Cardiac to the actual finish now. But quite a race. just they're 25, 27 miles in and 30 seconds separating the first two guys.
Indeed, and the battle for third also incredibly tight. Spencer Ferguson Dryden has moved into third, just 13 seconds ahead of Liam Mayrow in fourth at Cardiac. So those two gentlemen are just about 2 minutes back of the Cole Campbell Eddie Owens battle. So two very distinct head-to-head battles playing out for first and second and for third and fourth. A lot of action still to come.
The question in those battles is who's the better downhiller, because it's a big descent from Cardiac, almost 2,000 feet in elevation, to the finish line, which is maybe 20 feet above sea level.
Correct.
And so whoever's the good downhiller is in control.
Absolutely. Yes, there are no climbs left. It is the first part of this descent is, I guess the best way to think about it at home would be just like slightly less downhill than a road overpass. So very runnable if you have the legs under you. Good foot speed is to your benefit. And then once you hit Heather Cutoff, the dozen or so switchbacks where you are constantly stopping, making a hard turn, and having to reaccelerate for anywhere between 20 meters and 60 meters before you turn and cut it again, can really be a quad burner if you depending on how you want to play those turns, the tightness of those turns. So we will gladly look out left of our studio, and once they start hitting Heather Cutoff, try to see what we can see as they hit the switchbacks. But that will all be playing out very soon as our top four gentlemen are all making their way down to the finish. I'm going to look at Andy Wacker's splits from the from the top of Cardiac down was trying to see from when he split the top of Cardiac is about 3 hours and 11 minutes to the finish in 3:37. Live math on air, 26-ish minutes.
Yeah.
25 to 26 minutes from the top of Cardiac to the finish. So if the men in this field run roughly Andy's pace down the section, and we have no reason to believe that they wouldn't, we would expect to see them coming through at approximately, or at least coming through the start-finish line as we currently have it designed, at about 3:35. Yeah.
3:35, and they'll then have a mile to go. And so, and whether that would count for course record, every course has been slightly different. This one maybe a little more slightly different, but I'm not sure its degree of difficulty is materially different. We do have a couple of other, a couple of the top runners who have dropped. Sylvie Abel,
Okay.
I think she was a little injured coming into the race, and she last year's Quad Dipsy champion. She dropped, and also Dan Button, who's one of the better men from Eagle, Idaho. He has dropped as well.
And as this is a national championship race, we do have a lot of movement in the age group categories as well. For those just catching up, the open division is 39 and under, essentially. And then you will have 5-year age buckets from there that will be naming 50K national champions here. So 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, so on and so forth. So our top overall master, anybody who's 40 plus at this point, is Corey Baxter, who's sitting in 6th overall. And it should be one of our next individuals to make his way back up to Cardiac. Our second master and first in the 50 to 54 bucket is Jonah Backstrom. And moving down, looking at the Masters division, our next Masters male I believe, is Matt Poland. Yes, Matt Poland through cardiac the first time, coming to us locally here from
Mill Valley.
Mill Valley. Yeah. So those are your Masters. That's your Masters podium on the men's side at the moment. Meanwhile, in the women's field, our top Masters female looks to currently be Sarah Barber, the 48-year-old has cleared Highway 1, coming to us from Boise, Idaho. Looks to have cleared Highway 1 just a little over 45 minutes ago, so we should be getting a cardiac ping here hopefully in the next 10 or so minutes. She leads it out, followed by Verity Breen.
Well, Verity is another local run runner, and she is Verity's in her 60s, I think. So
58.
58. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Verity.
We won't tell her.
Shoot me later. But she wins her age group. Most races she enters. The women's race is still being led by Taylor Tuttle at Stinson Beach, and she has about a 9-minute lead now over Caroline Alcorta and Jennifer Schmidt, who are only seconds apart at Stinson Beach at mile 24.
Yeah, and Julia Vasquez also very close.
Yeah.
So
those three women, Caroline Alcorta, Jennifer Schmidt, and Julia Vasquez Giguere are literally 20 seconds apart, the three of them.
Yeah, and it's only another 40 seconds back to Eleni Matarese. So
pretty exciting. 2
through 5 in the women's race, separated by 56 seconds at Stinson Beach, with a nice climb up the Dipsy Trail and a screaming descent back here towards Santos Meadow. A lot can still play out here, and even with that lead that Taylor has, as we talked about earlier, no ultra results in the past. She is in uncharted territory in terms of race distance. So with this being her last climb of the race, this is going to be...
Yeah, if she gets to the top and has a big lead, she'd probably be fine. But let's see what happens. It's a tough climb out of there, 3.5 miles up the hill. Semi-technical. There's a lot of stairs on that trail through Steep Ravine.
Correct.
And, some good running on top, but for the most part, it's a tough slog up that hill from Stinson Beach.
So what is going to be interesting is a new wrinkle to the race that runners would not have anticipated having, is because of the out and back nature of the Dipsy section now, this reroute, you're going to see your competition.
Absolutely. You know exactly where you are.
You know exactly where you are, and you can see like how much that individual is suffering. Now, that being said, you've seen a lot of great racers, not just on the Dipsy Trail, but just, across the world at this point. Who do you think that benefits? Because somebody coming downhill versus somebody coming uphill, is that going to light a fire under the person who's on the descent? Like, I think I can catch this person? Or do you think that's going to benefit the person on the uphill? Like, knowing how much of a gap they have, they might be able to gauge their effort.
Well, I mean, when you're within a few seconds, it probably isn't that material. But if you're a little bit behind, like more than a couple of minutes, I think it's probably an advantage to the runner coming down the hill, because they wouldn't normally have a visual on the runners in front of them. But if they know that they're otherwise in the hunt, because they can see the people in front of them and then know how much more time it took them to get to the turnaround, then they can know how far behind they are and wouldn't have that information normally.
Yeah, it's It's a new mind game that we weren't anticipating happening today. But hey, that's ultra racing, baby. You gotta take the punches as they come. So as we await our top 4 men who are making their descent here at the finish line, we're gonna throw it back up to Cardiac, where we should expect to see Taylor and that very tight battle for 2 through 5.
Excellent.
Taking place.
33, Catherine Lynch from Reno. So did you?
2, 1.
All right.
So we're back at Cardiac here, and we've seen our first male runners come through. At this point, they have about 3.8 miles of all gorges downhill to get to the finish line. And right now, when they came through here, Cole Campbell from Nevada was in first place, but Eddie Owens, our local favorite here from Mill Valley, I believe, was only a couple seconds behind. But as we were recording, right down the trail from us, we saw Eddie Owens go down. We all ran over to see what was going on, and Eddie Owens collapsed due to cramping. He is all right. I want to specify he is all right. We offered him some electrolytes, and he said no, and he got up and ran. We'll see how that works out. He's still got 3.8 miles to go, which can be a very hard task when you're already cramping. Anybody that has been in a race like this knows once the cramping starts and you don't get salt in you, it can be debilitating. Here we go with a couple more of our top male runners coming through.
So we have probably 6 to 9 of the top have already come through. They're in their descent down to Santos Meadow. The two-way traffic here is very interesting because we are at that stage of the race where we're seeing more of the runners coming into Cardiac, shuffling, hiking. I could see the heat and the sun taking over, but the leaders of the race are beginning that descent and picking up the speed. And so it'll be very interesting to see if any further shuffling happens as they go down that descent to Santos Meadows. And again, Eddie Owens, who took out of here chasing after Cole